Let's get into baseball. Bowman Sterling just came out. We did some cases on Friday. I love Bowman Sterling. I'm a fan back in the day when it came out. 2009 has one of the bigger Trout autos. Back then, it was an 18 auto per box format. Now they've done the 5 auto per box format, a little bit cheaper price point, but it delivers. It's got all the big names. Jason Dominguez is live in the product, which is awesome. You got Bobby Witt. You got Adley Rutschman. You've got some short printed Trouts. And they're on-card autos, which I'd like to say it's the more affordable version of your Bowman Chromes with more autos, really. So check out our site. We're going to be breaking more Bowman Sterling, and we'll also have them available for personals. Like I said, it's one of the best values in the hobby. It's pretty much just like your Chrome First, but you're going to have 5 autos. It's on cards, Chrome technology, and it's great.
They're awesome cards, and you see right there a lot of fantastic prospects who, in other years we would get a chance to see these guys live, especially if you're living in smaller towns where you don't get a baseball team. Hey, at least you can go watch, the top prospect, you go watch Adley Rutschman take some at-bats. But I think that leads us to our first big topic of the day, which is, I feel like we were talking about a little bit before we started, kind of the sleeping giant right now in terms of all of the after effects of this COVID-shortened season. And that is the state of minor league baseball, which it's easy to forget just a few months ago that this was a hot topic. I mean, I remember during the election cycles, the primaries, I think Bernie Sanders even brought up a big talking point about how minor league baseball needs to save these teams. So this made a huge crossover into the political sphere. And obviously with COVID, things kind of took a back seat. But still, the plan right now, everything I was looking up, and you guys could correct me out there if I'm wrong, but the plan still is for minor league baseball to eliminate about 40 teams in 2021. And of course, on top of it all, there's going to be a lot of guys who were just drafted, who just came out of high school, who are going to probably go at least a year, if not 2 years, without professional baseball experience. So, Doug, this is, I think, something that is going to have massive repercussions, not just the next year, but let's say the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah, and I mean, from the card perspective, it makes you wonder what's going to happen with these upcoming Bowmans, because we have 3 Bowman releases a year, and you're talking about 150 to 200 prospect first Bowman autos that are going to be in this set. We already started to see it with 2020 Bowman, where everybody was going after Dominguez and Witt, but usually there's a couple guys that have some good performances that start going up and start being sought after. You're just not getting that right now with the way that the thing's going. I mean, is there just absolutely no, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, and maybe I'm naive, is there's just no way they can play without fans? I mean, is it a funding thing? I mean,
I think that's what it is. I think it's just a matter of it's not worth the money to go out there and, everything that is required for a minor league season, the buses, the meals, the housing, all that stuff. They just have deemed it with everything going on that it's just not financially feasible. Could they do it? I'm sure they could. There's a lot of baseball owners that are worth a lot of money. Even teams that are considered small market teams are owned by guys who are multi-billionaires. Can they afford it? Probably. But I think they have just decided, you know what? The bottom line is the bottom line, and that it's not worth it right now to spend that money when it can go to other places for the major league squad. But it's going to be a very strange time. And you mentioned it. I think the line I've heard from you guys since I've started here is that the card game is kind of, in terms of the rookie class, is kind of frozen in time right now. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be the case for baseball, I think, now for at least the next year. And next year it's going to be weird, obviously, for a number of reasons. But if you're taking away 40 teams from minor league baseball, and a vast majority of those teams are going to be rookie league teams. So you're going to get guys who are just coming out of high school, a lot of international prospects too, who are like 15, 16 years old, who they need that experience in rookie ball. Those teams are going to be gone. A huge amount of those teams are gone. And a lot of those guys are going to start in low A or single A, which doesn't sound like much, but especially for the really young guys, it could really stunt their development. And I think the product on the field is going to suffer for a couple of years.
Yeah, it definitely makes me wonder, 5, 6, 7 years from now, when we have these big name guys retiring and stuff like that, what the future holds during this period. And I mean, that goes for all sports, and that goes all the way down to high school. I mean, you've got kids that could be getting looked at in their senior year for scholarships, or maybe even kids that would get drafted out of high school this year. I mean, you've seen the guys come out of high school that it takes them a couple years to make it, but those guys are not going to get a shot. Maybe they put all their eggs in that basket, and now they have to kind of re-game plan. And unfortunately, maybe missing on the next, big thing, because some of these guys are just going to, focus on maybe an internet job or something where they know is stable, because they're not going to be able to get drafted during their senior year because they're not going to be able to play.
Yeah, and look, baseball is not the only sport that's going to suffer from this. We've already seen it in college football. I mean, it looks like everybody is basically sitting it out. Maybe the SEC, I know, is still trying their hardest to get some teams to play against this fall, but most teams have just decided fall sports are not going to happen in college, and that's going to be a huge effect for football, basketball, all these other sports. But I think baseball is so unique in that the development process takes so long for many cases, where it's going to be tough. You see the top prospects on screen right now. Those guys are probably going to be fine. A few of those guys are already up in the major leagues, and guys are in that taxi squad area where, I think, for example, we follow the Giants here, and already one of their top draft pick is already in that taxi squad getting reps. So those top guys are going to be okay, I think, for the most part. But it is those guys who are sort of fringe guys. And there are a lot of guys in the major leagues who were fringe minor league players and grinded it out in the minors and spent a lot of time there and made it up to the major leagues because of that. And I think that's where it's going to be really tough. And you're going to see, maybe in a year or two, things are going to start to look maybe a little more sketchy on the field. I hope I'm wrong, but
right.
That might be.
What if this thing goes into next year? I mean, maybe just this blip is okay, where everybody will pick it back up only 1 year later. But talk about 2 years later, that's a big difference. So I almost would think with the minor league system, there is 4, 5, 6 levels at times. That what if you just went live on YouTube and you stayed within your state? I don't know, and you could get sponsorships locally. Right. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of businesses that would want to sponsor a feed. I mean, the feed may only get 5,000 or 6,000 viewers, but hey, if one of these up and coming prospects goes 4 for 4 with 10 RBIs, that's going to make it on ESPN, and then your sponsorship is kind of vilified at that point. Maybe there's a big I don't know, Jimmy John's in the background when this guy goes 4 for 4. So I don't know. To me, it's just I think they could have it with no fans, and I think a lot of fans. Especially, and I may be more jaded because I am a Bowman guy, and I like to go and look at the box scores for not only the San Jose Giants, but all these, these little teams that I got a guy that I'm collecting. I want to see how he did, and so I'll go look at the box scores. You can't do that now. I mean, but if you had the YouTube, if you had some kind of live stream, you could just do 2 cameras or something, and I don't know. Just doesn't seem like it seems like there would be a way to get these guys to keep going and keep competing. But.
Yeah, I would love to see that. And even for the card game, there's going to be that shorter window where, like you said, there's guys like Jason Dominguez, his value is going to be what it is for a while. But guys can't grow their value. And when guys come up to the majors, there's that really short window of either they're going to be real cheap and then suddenly they go on a 10-game hit streak and it goes through the roof. So it's going to be really weird for the hobby side of things. And obviously the on-the-field stuff is going to be weird. And beyond all that, 40 cities are going to lose potentially teams. And those are not the, let's put it this way. I love going to San Jose Giants games here in the South Bay, in the Bay Area. But I would be heartbroken if they were gone. But this is still a big city with a lot of other big city draws. There's a lot of other teams to go see, professional sports teams. But, a small town of 50, 60,000 that's got a minor league baseball team, that's a huge part of the community that if they go, that's a really big hit. So it's going to be a strange couple of years for the prospect game.
Like you said, it's somewhere in the middle of nowhere where they don't have a professional team, but maybe they had that minor league team. And how many kids maybe went with their fathers? I mean, that's one of the reasons I started playing baseball. I played baseball for about 15 years, and I went to the A's and Giants game, but it was only 30, 40 minutes away from me. But if that was their only way, I mean, how many kids are probably not ever going to play baseball because they're not even seeing it, in those areas. So it has a bigger impact than just those current players. It could affect future players by not being able to put the game out there.
Yeah, at a time where baseball was already sort of at a crossroads. I feel like Rob Manfred is doing everything to sort of take away attention from the sport. They had that open window of opportunity before the NBA and the NHL got back on the ice or the court, if you will, and to be in the national spotlight. And now the middle of the baseball season is stuck in the middle of NBA playoffs starting as we speak, and Stanley Cup playoffs are going on. So it's another example of how Manfred is just kind of squandering the moment now.
You made a good point there. You turn on any sports station today, there is no sports channel that is leading off with baseball at this moment.
Unless there's a perfect game or something today, the top story is going to be playoffs now. And you've got an NFL training camp starting at the same time. Right. So these are all part of this. I don't know what it is, some grand scheme to destroy baseball. I don't want to go that far, but these are all little tiny things that are all kind of piling up together. And, come 2021, 2022, what's baseball going to look like to the public as a whole? And I hope it's not the worst case scenario.
Sure.